Legend of Total War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering Clan Molder with a mutant rat ogre doomstack that has been mutated to the absolute maximum. Each one of these mutant rat ogres has the maximum number of mutations possible before a instability is 100% guaranteed. Apparently it took this guy 2 weeks to build this army just by save scumming and rolling these mutations. If we have a look at what we're going up against here, the auto resolve gives us a pretty good result, and it's on very hard battle difficulty. We're going up against essentially 4 Rite of Primeval Glory armies here, so a ridiculous amount of strength to go up against. So let's see how it performs. At the end of the battle, we'll go through all the mutations that he chose and see if he chose, in my opinion, the right ones. But if you're going with 10 mutations, there's usually only like 3 or 4 that are like crucial, and then other ones are like, doesn't really help that much. So we'll have a look, see if he got all the good ones. He's also got some heroes in here which complement the mutant rat ogres really well, because these guys here normally can't regenerate, but they can at the moment because they've got the hunger ability, which they got through one of their mutations, so they can regenerate while in melee. But these guys here can also provide additional regeneration and also boost their stats in an area. Okay, this is obviously an extremely high effort army. Most people are probably not going to build this doomstack in their campaigns, but this will give you something to aspire to if you want. We're going to wait for the enemy reinforcements to show up, although it would technically be better for us to charge at them right away. I do feel like this army is strong enough that it can pretty much handle 2 full stacks at a time, so we'll wait for them. Okay, they've got the cold one summons, just let them come in. Right, they've got an artillery Stegodon, so maybe let me just stay out of that for the time being. Got shot up a little bit. Not a big deal. Okay, their reinforcements are coming in, letting them get set up. Oh, these guys. Okay, fine if they want to do that. Going in. That was very stupid of them. Very stupid. So we can see here, these guys have ridiculous amounts of weapon strength. Jeez, they killed that just about instantly. Really high melee attack as well. Look at all these damn skills they've got in here. That is a lot of dinosaurs. Well, who wins? Dinosaurs or mutated mutant rats? Teenage mutant ninja rats. Okay, let's go. Let's just go into the front. They'll probably try to flank us at some point. Okay, there's a Bastiladon solar engine. Let's try to get at that. Did that hit us? No. I imagine that the infantry is not going to do anything here. That was probably a direct hit. It was a direct hit, but it didn't do very much damage. Have a looking at the resistances in our rat ogres. We've got 10% ward save, 40% physical resistance, 25% missile resistance. Spell resistance isn't really that important, so I don't usually worry about it too much. Of course, Throt the Unclean here, able to give extra bonus versus large melee defense there. That's all very good. I've got Gorich in here, which I don't think is necessary for boosting the army, but I'll have a look at him. He doesn't need to be in Throt's army. Okay, let's use these shock collars. Probably could put them in control groups to do that a little bit faster, but I don't think we need to. I think this army is strong enough that we didn't even need to use shock collar. Pop down these summons as well, why not? They're free. Okay, that one's taking a little bit of damage really quickly there. We can regenerate a couple of times with Remolded. We don't have his faction clan stone yet. Well, it's not active at the moment. Alright, this one here is really getting hammered. What's going on there? Because he's isolated. Let's pull him out of that engagement. Try to get him in together. They fight a lot better if they stand back to back. So this guy here, getting isolated like that's a problem. And this is a slight problem with the mutant rat ogres, because when they attack, they sort of jump around a lot. And so they can get themselves isolated and smashed. Alright, I'm going to do something pretty useless, but let's see how this goes. Yeah, I thought so. Thing is, by putting these mutant, these wolf rats in here, it just gives the enemy something else to attack instead of the mutant rat ogres. But yeah, totally unnecessary to even do that. Okay, all of our guys are kind of getting mixed up. And they're not fighting as a single unit now, which is a bit of a problem. But no one's in any serious danger just yet. Don't forget they've got the hunger, so they are regenerating at a rate of 7 hit points per second. So in a one-on-one fight, one of these mutant rat ogres can easily take on a stegodon. Or a bastillodon, really easily. This guy here is getting damaged. Okay, let's pull him out, since he's on the edge there. And try to get him in amongst a bigger cluster of mutant rat ogres. They'll fight a lot better standing side by side. Got these ones here bothering us. We don't have any spell casting in the army, but I don't think we really need it. Alright, we've got a Bastillon solar engine there, which I'm not really going to worry about too much because they're just as likely to hit their own troops than us. Bit of a problem for Throt to not be in the center here because a lot of our guys aren't getting this. This one here is almost his regen cap. Let's get it out of the fight. We don't want it to get killed. Took this guy 2 weeks to build this army. It took him about 30 hours of continuous playtime, save scumming this. Because the thing is, getting the first, this is based on his email, getting to the first like 5 or 6 mutations doesn't take very long at all. But when you've got a 90% chance of causing an instability, that's where the problems comes in. It takes ages just to get that last mutation, and then you got to do it however many times that you've got these units in your army. Yeah, you just run down broken units, that way you can get a little bit of regen going. And yeah, you can use the shock collars on your pack masters because they're technically on a Molder Beast as well. And there's the army losses. Without us really trying very hard to win this battle at all. And not even doing a good job. Like, what we should have done, if we were actually going to try hard, we should have charged at them at the start before their reinforcements got here. And tried a lot harder to keep our guys together. And maybe even tried to hit and run them a bit more, because a mutant rat ogre is faster than a stegodon. So we could have hit and run them much better. But we just went into a gigantic clusterfuck of a fight, and these guys absolutely smashed them. Now, in order for them to regenerate, if we have a look over here, we can see they've got casualty replenishment rate minus 100%. So this is one big downside of this army, is that in order to replenish these units, you have to send them into melee, which means when these battles are over, you need to send them to run down enemy troops. The packmasters can regenerate just on their own, fine. But the mutant rat, actually, we'll pull all them out. So let's have a look at some of the damage output. Throt the Unclean, who stayed in the fight the whole time, got 55,000 kills. No, 55,000 damage. How the hell did he get that much? He must have, like, the Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's how. He had warpstone armor. So that would have done a lot of damage to infantry units, not so much to single entities. Let's have a look at some of these guys. 22,000 damage, 30,000 damage, 21,000 damage, 27,000. So all of them doing a huge amount of damage against very strong units. Like, there were Carnosaurs in there as well, and those are anti-large, so they just took him out pretty easily. Quite a lot of dead Carnosaurs there. It was mostly Stegodons and Bastiladons, but still they're very strong as well. Okay, since I don't need to send the save file back, we got a better result than auto-resolve. And the auto-resolve I thought was pretty damn generous. 4 armies there. Oh right, all of their forces were able to come in at once because it was 3 different factions. Now we'll have a look and see if he's made the right calls on the mutations, and I'll give it a bit of a rating. Obviously, the amount of effort required to do this is ridiculous, and I think most people are probably not going to put that amount of effort in, but it's quite possible that there's maybe like 3 mutations that you just don't need to get, and so getting 7 mutation on all these guys would not take anywhere near the amount of time to perfect, if you want to save scum it, that is, compared to getting it to full 10.
Twist, bend, mangle, experiment.
So, pretty late in the campaign, he's conquered a lot of territory. Honestly, by turn 113 to have that much territory is pretty good. Okay, so, let's have a look at these mutations. I imagine they've all got the same thing. Yeah, they're all completely identical. Okay, so let's have a look. So this one over here, melee attack and weapon strength plus 4 and 10%. No downside to that, so that's a good choice. Then we've got charge bonus and weapon strength. That's a good choice. No downside to that. Speed, physical resistance. That's a good one. No downside. Enable flaming attacks and reduced leadership -5. Passability, propane, perspiration. That is okay, as long as you don't go up against anything with a lot of flame resistance. Thankfully, after the Chaos Dwarf update, there are not units that have like a base 75% flame resistance to begin with. So most of the time, even if you go up against High Elves, this will be fine. Thing is though, that also affects your troops as well. Gives you your guys flame weakness. So if you go up against something that has a lot of flaming attacks, that could actually be a bit of a problem. I would say that is one that you could drop off, and is not providing a huge amount of value. Flaming attacks in most situations are not vital. This one over here, Mammoth Skin Cloning, reduced speed, increased missile resistance, and extra armor. I would say that one there is also not essential. It largely depends on what you're going up against. If you're going up against something that doesn't have a lot of missiles, like what we just went up against, losing 20% speed for a little bit of stuff. Like, it says plus 30 armor, but we have 0 armor, so that one there, I would say, probably wasn't needed. Missile resistance is good for sure, but it depends what you're going up against. Then we've got Weeping Blade, so Weeping Bone Spines here. Reduces the enemy armor by 50%, but also reduces your armor by 100, but gives you extra weapon strength. The weapon strength is great, losing armor is a little bit of a problem. I know that Mutant Rat Ogres don't have a lot of armor to begin with, so if you're at like 50 armor, actually I can't remember what their actual base is, and then dropping it down to 0 is not that big of a deal. So the Weeping Blade, reducing their armor by 50%. Here's the problem with that. That is only going to improve your base weapon damage, and only really going to provide any value against heavily armored opponents, which is something that we just went up against. So that is okay. Yeah, with the weapon strength plus 20%, that's a good one, I suppose. Then we've got this one here, enable contaminating attacks. I think that reduces... Actually, I don't think they've got that. They've got too many different modifiers here. You can only have 3. So that one there hasn't been applied at all on any of them. I'm fairly sure. But contaminating attacks reduces the morale of enemy forces when in contact. Bonus first infantry is good, but you lose a little bit of melee attack. So I'd say that one there is not needed because you're reducing your effectiveness against large units by losing this melee attack and getting essentially a melee attack buff of 5 against infantry. So I'd say that one there is not essential. This one here, casualty replenishment rate minus 100%. That's a problem without getting the hunger. Luckily he's got that, so you can regenerate that way. Weapon strength plus 40%, melee attack plus 20. Losing melee defense is a bit of a problem, but that melee attack allowed us to win the battle really quickly. So this one here is pretty good. Then this one here, yeah, you're going to need that if you're going to get this one here. Passability hunger. They were undead, which with that much leadership I guess is not that big of a deal. Because they're unlikely to crumble when you've got that much leadership, unless they're just about dead anyway. So I think that's a really good one there. Now let's have a look at the ones that he hasn't selected and see if they're any better than the ones that he did select. So random, no, don't want that one. Increased upkeep cost, no, that's not ideal. Even for Stalk and Unspottable, I don't think that is a good choice there. Acidic musk glands. Causes damage in an area to everyone. Yeah, that's not really essential for this, I'd say. Alright. Then you've got cellular instability. Why did you not get that? That's way better. Like, you're already at 0% replenishment, and this is a warp bomb. You should have gotten this. Absolutely. That's like my go-to one to get. I can't believe you didn't get cellular instability. We would have cleared out their infantry just like that. It would have been useless against single entities. I guess one of the main reasons he didn't do it is because it does damage the unit a fair bit. The thing is, if you manage to time it correctly, the bomb takes a few seconds to go off. And if you time it so that the bomb's about to go off and then they jump sort of out of their own way, they can kind of dodge the shot. And they do have regeneration to begin with. But yeah, if you're going up against massive armies of infantry, then that would be really useful. And of course, you don't have to use it. So I think not getting that was a big mistake. Passive ability Guardian I don't think is essential since that only applies once and would only affect the heroes there. So that's not essential. Casualty replenishment rate is irrelevant with this one here, but reducing the upkeep cost of the unit. So that one there won't make them any stronger, they'll just make them better on the campaign map. So not a big deal whether or not you got that for this particular situation, don't need that. Vanguard, deploy, and leadership. Actually, I think that one there is pretty good. Being able to like get right in front of the units as quickly as possible, that'd be really handy. So I think that's one that you could have chosen instead of one of the others. And then bound ability, warp lightning rod. Okay, that's not essential, that one. So most of them are good, but I would say that you really don't need to get all 10. Some of these are not making the unit that much stronger. Like this one here, I'd say that doesn't need to be there at all. And that one there, like those two in particular, those are not essential. The other ones, in fact, most of the blue ones are kind of non-essential. The green ones and the purple ones, those are much better. Except for cellular instability, that's a really good one there. So yeah, okay, in rating it, I don't agree with all the choices that he made, but I do appreciate the amount of effort that he went into to try to make this. It was stupidly strong, so the mutant rat ogres can be really good, especially against the lizardmen. So that worked out well, because they're very good against single entities. And that bonus versus infantry there, they're okay against infantry. If you had made them with cellular instability, it'd be even better. I know you take some damage on yourself, but you've got regeneration, so you'd be fine. Okay, in terms of rating it, obviously in terms of the practical side of things, it's not practical at all to do this in your Clan Malta campaign. Way too much time investment. Most people just aren't going to spend 30 hours re-rolling to get 10 mutations. I'd say getting to 7 is more than enough. And if we have a look, because they've got this laboratory upgrade, I can't remember which one it is, that's... yeah, this one here. If you get 4 or more augments, then you get the ward save plus 10%. So you want to get at least 4 of those augments, and probably, I reckon 8 is all you really need. I think going to 10, just doing it because, just seeing if you could do it, but there aren't enough really good mutations, right? And once again, looking at this, if we wanted to mutate it again, yeah, it's 100% chance of instability now. Yeah. Which isn't a good thing, because then they'll constantly decay. Okay, so yeah, not very practical at all. Stupidly strong. Maximum points for strength. Took out 4 full stacks of mostly single entities. And ease of use, it was very easy to use. I basically didn't really do much micro. I use these abilities here, but I absolutely did not need to do them. So minimal micro required. The only things that you would really have to worry about is if you're going up against an army that had ridiculous amounts of like magic missiles. So if you went up against a Sisters of Avalon Doomstack and there was like 2 of them, maybe then you'd have to micro a fair bit, but most enemy armies that you go up against would be pretty easy to smash. This is an army that's strong enough to take out single entity pain in the ass characters like Archaon and Sigvald the Magnificent, because your melee attack is high enough to actually penetrate their melee defense. So it would actually work against those kind of guys. So in summary, not practical at all, stupidly strong, stupidly easy to use. But I really appreciate the amount of time and effort that it went into making this, and made me think twice about maybe getting a Mutant Rat Ogre army next time I play Clan Molder. Although my personal preference for my favorite monster unit is still the Brood Horror, just because they do hit almost as hard as a Mutant Rat Ogre, and they don't flail about as much, so their animations are kind of better, and their speed is magnificent. Being able to get in and out of fights is really useful, so I think they're a better tactical unit. But anyway, a great army here, really impressive. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this army. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.